Hi guys, good morning and welcome back to the Pageant Podcast. I'm so happy to have you here today. Currently, I am in my most pre-pageant state, which means hair is not styled because we're saving that heat damage for the pageant, and makeup is not on my face because I'm trying to make my skin give it a break before I overwhelm it with about 1,000,000 different products. But today's video is actually about mindset, and I was thinking about doing this mindset video for pageants because honestly, this week has been all about getting my brain in the correct order and making sure that I feel confident before I walk into this weekend. And last episode on Tuesday was very chaotic because that's how I've been feeling. I've been feeling really chaotic. And I watched the video back. All I could think was take a breath, take a chill pill, sit there for a second and take a breath because, girl, you are stressed. And that's true, I am stressed. However, how we deal with our stress is really important. So, I've mentioned this method before, but this is what I've been doing a lot of recently when I am focused and working on something specific. So let's say I'm editing the podcast, right? Any thoughts that come up that aren't about the activity I'm doing, I write them down on a separate piece of paper so that I can go back to them later. And in writing them down, it doesn't make you forget. It allows you an outlet to put that thought into the universe and know, hey, I've written it down, I'm going to come back to it later, and that lets your brain move on. Because if you don't do that, your brain is just going to be stuck on that thought and it's going to be like, oh my gosh, what if I forget to do this? But you won't forget to do it if you have a paper right next to you and you wrote it down. So I do that a lot if I'm filming or editing the podcast and I think of something for school I have to do, or if I'm doing school stuff, studying, and I think of a pageant thing, I'll write it down because it allows me to focus better on my school stuff. And so that's one way I try to balance it all. Then the other way is I try to take breaks. This is kind of difficult for someone like me who right now, every minute of the day I'm doing something. I was up at 6 a.m. today editing story highlights on Instagram. The most random things I get up to, I tell you. But I think it is really important to make sure you give yourself breaks. And so for me, the breaks I always give are lunch. I always give myself an hour for lunch. That is something I will not slide on. I will not edit. Nope. An hour for lunch, an hour for dinner. I will sit there and I will eat and I will do stuff on my phone and just kind of let myself decompress. Sometimes the hour turns into 45 minutes. Sometimes it's only 30. But I always like to give myself a nice mealtime where I can just sit there and relax and I'm not trying to worry about anything, not trying to do anything, because if I allowed myself to, I would be doing assignments while I eat, which just doesn't allow yourself a break and isn't a good mindset to have, because you are being productive when you're eating. You're feeding and fueling your body, and I think that's an important thing to notice. The other thing with mindset is comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. This is a statement I'm sure you've heard be said many times, but it's 100% true. When I'm on Instagram, I try really, really hard when I see people I'm competing against posts, to immediately try to think on the positive side. So if I see one of my friends that I'm competing against post, my immediate thought is, oh wow, she looks so beautiful. Oh wow, that's so cool. I try at first to not even think about other people as competition. And I think this is really helpful. So if you see posts automatically just being be the outer eye. Don't be you when you see other people's posts. Don't think about how it might affect you. Think about it for them and think about how amazing their post is and how great they're doing, and support them, hype them up. I think the more I hype up and support the people I'm competing against, the more empathy I have for them, the less I compare myself to them, because I see them as a real human being, somebody that I'm supporting. And yeah, I really think it's important that you know that you have competition and you're competing against them, but your feelings towards them isn't going to change the way that they compete and they perform. You can feel so negatively and, oh my goodness, this person's terrible, I want to beat them, yada, yada, yada. That's not going to change how that person competes. It's much better to look at them and see a real human being and give a personality to their face. And I think that's especially hard in pageants because you don't meet or see these girls until the days you start competing with them. So it's really easy to just see them as a face and somebody that you want to beat. But I think it's super duper important to see them as more, because if you don't, you're creating a really unhealthy mindset for yourself. To that point, it's really important to remember that it's a pageant, right? Pageants are amazing. I am one of the biggest advocates for pageants. I think they heighten confidence. I think they teach you important interview skills and overall just help you become a well-rounded person. However, pageants are not the end-all be-all. I try to think about, in 2 years, would I still cry over losing this? I don't think I would. And maybe you would, but you have to think about it in the long run. Will the pageant impact your life? Like, losing, will it change your life to lose? And the answer is usually no. Sometimes winning will change your life, right? But losing, it's not going to change your life. Are you going to lose your family? No. Are you going to lose your friends? No. Losing a pageant is one of the hardest things, honestly, because pageants are judging you based on who you are, your speaking, how you're talking, how you're walking. That's you. And so sometimes it's hard to take that criticism. However, at the end of the day, mostly you can't control what the judges think. You can control what you give, but the judges are looking for something and you have no idea what it is. And maybe you just don't fit that mold, and that's okay. You don't need to fit the mold of every pageant title, right? You need to fit the mold of you. You need to walk in being the most you can be, because otherwise it's false advertising. You don't want to advertise yourself as anything else but who you are and what you stand for. Because if you misrepresent yourself, then if you were to win, that would be a very big conflict, because you want to be yourself, but you've already created the shell, and so you're stuck being somebody that you're not, and she seems very exhausting. And as somebody who's already tired being a pageant girl promoting who she is, I can't imagine trying to be a pageant girl promoting somebody you're not. So I really recommend that when you enter a pageant, you are your fullest, most complete self. The other thing with mindset, just remembering that you are worthy, you are enough as you are. I think it's really hard because there are so many amazing people out there, right? And you're one of them. You are one of the amazing people. So when you go into pageant, it's really important to remember, I am amazing. I am great as I am. Talk about your strengths. Talk about things you're excited about. And let yourself live in the moments of victory. This is something I've been working on a lot recently. When I do something good, when I get something, when I'm, succeeding in something, sometimes I just ignore it and I don't reward myself at all. That is something that I'm trying to do differently when I go into this pageant. If I have a good interview, I'm not going to be immediately like, oh my gosh, but my fitness is tonight and I have to start focusing on that. No. Take a second and let yourself revel in that victory. Not for too long, don't get too cocky, but if you're someone like me that just moves on to the next problem, the next big thing, let yourself sit there for a second. Let yourself feel happy because you earned it. Sometimes we work so hard for things that we forget to let ourselves feel happy about getting them. And so it's so important to really just reward yourself and feel happy and proud of who you are. I think that's gonna be it for today. This episode was kind of chaotic as well, but a little bit slower because I watched the last episode and I was like, wow, she's going everywhere. My life has felt very chaotic in the last few weeks leading up to this pageant. However, I'm so grateful and I'm trying to use the mindset tips that I've given you guys in this episode. I hope they were understandable. I'm really liking doing these podcasts in one video because I think it showcases all of me, and I think it showcases, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I stutter on my words. Sometimes I say things that don't really make sense. but I feel like that's more of the point of a podcast, is like just me sitting down talking to a camera. So I hope you enjoyed. Next week, we will not be having normal episodes. I think what I'm going to do is get together a lot of videos from over the week and post them maybe Tuesday, maybe Thursday, but I'm not going to pressure myself because next week is going to be even more chaotic. So I'm going to try and keep these mindset tips and post if possible. So thank you guys so much for watching this is how you can tell it's live. My throat is dry. Thank you guys so much for watching the Pageant Podcast. I really, really appreciate your support going in to this next week. Please let me know if you have any questions and comment down below what topic you'd like a next episode to be about. Bye, everybody.